Hi, and welcome to Girl Talk. I'm Dechari with Girls Living for God, and we're excited. This is our first video blog, and we want to be a little more one-on-one, so this is an opportunity for us. And today what I want to share with you is a new perspective that God's given me. I don't know if you can relate to this yet or not, but I've had times where I'm just kind of like, what's the point? I don't know, just my time here on earth, it's like, it's very imperfect. It gets you down sometimes. And if you know Jesus, you know He's coming to get us one day and take us to heaven. So this is just a temporary place, a temporary time. So what until Jesus comes? Well, in the Bible it talks about Jesus coming back as a wedding day. Like, Jesus is the bridegroom. He's coming for His bride, which is the church, and that's those of us that love Jesus, know Him, and have accepted Him as our Savior. So if the wedding day is coming, when Jesus is, coming back to get us, that means this time is my dating time with Jesus. So I don't know, I can relate to that. Because I did have that. I had about 2.5 years before my fiance and I got married that we had that dating time, and it was a really good time and very much needed. And let me explain. Well, on the positive side, it was this wonderful time of pursuing. It was, him pursuing me, and the cool thing, I don't know, it makes me smile that both the men that I love so much in my life pursued me first. My fiance did, and then Jesus has always pursued me first and continues to pursue me. And the neat thing is I get to pursue them back during this time. And so, it's lots of great lovey feelings, I guess, and all that. But it's also kind of a stretching time, and sometimes can have bumps in the road and things to go through. And we actually had my fiance and I had the most arguments during our dating time before we got married. And I totally know why. It was our communication was the biggest thing. We did not know how to listen. When you're getting into a relationship, you think you're right all the time, and you have your very important points to get across. And you just don't take time to really hear the other person. You're already ready with your rebuttal of, oh yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about, I've got to tell him this. So, I don't know, it's very much how I treat Jesus, or have, and I'm working on it, is that I will not even just, that I'm like, oh Jesus, I want this, take care of this, okay, bye. And I don't even give Him time to talk, but I also just clutter my head with all kinds of other things and thoughts and things going on. And so I just don't give Him time to, talk to me, tell Him about what He has for me, love on me. And so sometimes I just need to be quiet, and I need to listen, and I need to hear what He has to say for me, what He has to teach me. And so that's a big thing that I've learned. And I was very selfish, I think, originally in our relationship, because I was a very independent person. I was used to not reporting to anybody but myself. What did I want to eat? Where did I want to spend my money? What was I going to do? Just me. And then when you're in a relationship, you can't be selfish. And so that was a huge adjustment. And I think that's where a lot of marriages struggle today, is that they go into a relationship, what can that person do for me? And it just can't be that way. If you have two very selfish people, only wanting from each other what each other can give, it's like you're going to be disappointed, and then it's like, oh, see you, bye, you didn't fulfill me. But if you go into a relationship, what can I give unconditionally to this person, not expecting back? And if the other person does that as well, it's just like an amazing, amazing thing. And Jesus was our best example. He came to earth, and He could have come as a king and a ruler and had people serve Him. And instead, He came very humble, and He said, I didn't come to be served. I came to serve people. And I came to give my life as a sacrifice. And He said, this is the example for you. And that's a very hard thing to work on, is being selfless. And so that's something God's teaching me. And it's the opportunities where I do sacrifice my time or give up things or whatever it is, that it's amazing how when you don't expect monetary things or favors back, you just give unconditionally, how you just have this joy and you want to give more. And so it's just a blessing to be able to learn to be selfless. So during this dating time with Jesus, that's something he's definitely teaching me, and something I had to learn with my fiance as well. And, not only was I selfish before I got married, but I also was used to having my own way. And I think back to before Christmas, my fiance and I were dating, and he was going to help me put up a Christmas tree. And it was one of those fake ones where you put in the individual branches. And anyway, I know it's kind of tacky, but that's what I had for my little apartment. And I just was used to, my own way would be just jump in, just kind of figure it out, just throw it together. Well, he's like, no, even if it seems simple, like there's instructions here. You should go by the instructions. We should read those first. And I was the kind of person that always bypassed instructions. I was like, no, I know how to do things better. And I'm sorry, but we do not know how to do things better than God. And Jesus is teaching me. It's like, hey, I've got instructions of how to have an amazing life, how to have the best life. Don't bypass my instructions. Make sure and read them. And so that's something that he's taught me. And he's teaching me that his ways are not my ways, and his thoughts are not my thoughts. He's far beyond my way of thinking, because he is working for a bigger picture of, me to have impact and to grow me and just different things like that. So I just have to realize that his ways are best and that he's given us instruction. What else have I learned? I've learned about making time. I think back to before I got married was one of the busiest times in my life. I was in school, I had a job, I don't know what all was going on, but it was always insane, my schedule. But yet, I worked my schedule out to make sure that I had time for my fiance. That was a top priority for me, because for a healthy relationship, you have to have time, and you have to put in that time and make that effort. And that's something I wanted. I wanted time with him. And so with Jesus, it's like, hey, am I making the time in my crazy work schedule, in my crazy life? If I really love him, won't I work out my schedule to maybe take a walk and talk to him, or different things that I can do to really spend time with him, because quality time is so important. So that's something that I'm learning during this dating time, is I've got to make time for my fiance. And, another huge thing is, I told you that we had a lot of arguments, my fiance and I, before we got married. Well, there was one that was big. I don't know what it was over. I'm sure it was pretty pointless. But he comes to me the next day and he's like, if that was any other dating, just casual relationship, like I would have been like, see ya, bye, because it wasn't perfect, or it was, it wasn't making him happy at the time. So it's like, you just leave it. But he's like, I know God's in this relationship and has us to be married. So, you know what? I'm in it for the long haul. It doesn't matter, what you do wrong or I do wrong, or if we frustrate each other sometimes. It's, I'm just here. I'm not leaving. We're in it for life. And that was a commitment we had. And it's cool with Jesus. There is that security. I mean, we're imperfect, my husband and I, but it's like Jesus is perfect, and he's like, I'm not leaving for sure. I'm here completely as your rock, as your thing that you can count on, your person you can count on. And in a relationship, I think most people don't have that. And you live in fear of, if you're not the perfect person, if you don't look perfect, if you have a flaw, if you mess up, it's like, oh, you're going to lose that guy. Well, that's not the kind of relationship you need. You need a God-given relationship, and somebody that's going to be there, that you're in it, you're committed, mostly because God has you to be together. And so that's just something during the dating time that's been a huge thing. It's a comfort. It's your security to grow in that relationship, because you know that he's going to be there. And Jesus is that way. He is not going anywhere. He promises that. And another thing that you can kind of you need to know in the deepest core in a relationship and during this dating time is that that person loves you, like unconditionally loves you. And there were times that, I don't know, my fiance would do something stupid or maybe it was just something I just didn't understand. He was coming from a different perspective. And I'm like, are you trying to hurt my feelings? Like, I would have hurt feelings. And I learned to understand and know at the deepest core that he loves me. Like, he really loves me. So he's not going to do things to hurt me. So if I know that, then I'm going to try to figure out, oh, well, what's going on? You know, like maybe I'm misunderstanding or don't understand the situation. But I think it's like that for God. We sometimes want to get angry and feel like God's after us and out to harm us or keep things from us, but that is not the case. He loves us so much, and He's the only one that can take all this craziness and work it for good. And again, we can't think that His ways are our ways. He's working for a bigger purpose, and He loves us so much. He doesn't want us to stay the same. He wants us to be a stronger person, to be that beautiful bride ready for Jesus when He comes to get us. And so He's going to use us, and He doesn't promise, He promises this is not heaven and this is not a perfect place. So we're going to have hard times and things, but He promises He's never going to leave, and He loves us so much. So things are working for good. So those are things to learn and to build on in a relationship. So I don't know. I love this time with Jesus. It gives me a new perspective that this is not all there is, but it's moving towards the big day when He comes to take me home, and I love wedding days. So I don't know, what do you girls think? Can you see this as your dating time with Jesus, and how does that change your perspective? How does that change how you go about living? Are you acting like a fiance? Are you acting, telling your friends how excited you are about this man that you love? I am talking about Jesus right now. Are you spending time with Him? Are you, growing, understanding, trying to learn to communicate, talking with Him all the time? So anyway, just think about it. I would love to hear your comments. We love to chat with you girls. So we're on Pinterest if you want to pin this and share it with other friends. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. You can email us at girlslivingforgod@yahoo.com, and we would love to hear from you. We would love to start chatting. We're actually going to have a discussion board coming up in not too long, so new exciting things. But we'll see you again on Girl Talk next week, and love you girls. Bye.